This episode is provided by Thomas Allgaier and Frennis, based on the most relevant LinkedIn posts about MarTech from calendar weeks 18 and 19. Frennis is a B2B market research company that supports enterprise marketing teams in unlocking the full potential of their customer data with the help of AI. You can find more info in the description. So welcome to the deep dive. Today we are unpacking the top MarTech trends that everyone is talking about across LinkedIn right now.
Yeah, and it's been a really wild couple of weeks for B2B marketing professionals. I mean, we are seeing this massive shift away from just, buying endless software and moving straight into this era of AI execution.
Exactly. I mean, we're going to cover everything from the shocking new numbers on the MarTech landscape to why buying more tools is completely failing, the real-world deployment of Agentic AI, and finally, these massive security risks hiding in all the new AI integrations. It's a lot.
It is a lot, but it's crucial because if you open your inbox today, you're just flooded with vendors promising that their new AI feature is going to magically fix your pipeline. But the conversations happening among actual operators tell a totally different story.
Right. So let's ground this in the numbers right off the bat, because the new State of MarTech 2026 report, which, Scott Brinker and France Reimers have been heavily discussing it, has this headline number that feels honestly kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah, the 15,000 number.
Yeah. 15,505 individual products currently on the market. But the growth rate of the landscape has totally flatlined. We're talking about a microscopic 0.79% year-over-year growth. So, I mean, if the market is basically a perfectly still lake right now, does that mean MarTech is dead? Or are we just addicted to buying the same shiny objects in different packaging?
Well, it's definitely not dead. On the surface, yeah, a 0.79% growth rate makes it look like this still stagnant lake. You'd think innovation just stopped. But Edith Barmatloo and Justin Thibault pointed out that underneath that flat percentage, there is this incredibly violent churn happening.
Violent churn. What does that look like in the data?
It means that over the last year, 1,488 tools were added to the landscape, but at the exact same time, 1,367 tools were completely removed or absorbed.
Oh, wow. So the lake isn't still at all. There's just this vicious undertow dragging platforms down while new ones pop up. What exactly is getting dragged under?
Mostly content marketing tools. That first generative AI bubble from a few years ago, it burst completely. Those standalone tools built just to write text became obsolete overnight. The big AI labs just absorbed those features, and the massive enterprise platforms embedded text generation right into their workflows.
Right, because why buy a separate tool to write an email when your CRM just does it for you now?
Exactly. But at the same time, we saw massive growth in other areas, like CMS and e-commerce tools grew by roughly 20%.
Which is fascinating, because a content management system is one of the oldest categories in digital marketing. Why the sudden 20% surge there?
Because the whole architecture is shifting. SaaS is becoming the infrastructure layer, the plumbing. And AI is stepping in as the actual value layer. Companies are realizing their websites have the wrong architecture entirely. They are rebuilding from the ground up so that machines and AI agents can read them, prioritizing structured data over just, pretty visual interfaces.
I love that. It actually makes me think of this incredible analogy that Dia Costa shared on LinkedIn, building on some thoughts from Stephanie Jenin. Scott Brinker's originally called this a chrysalis phase, like the old software caterpillar dissolves into soup and becomes a beautiful butterfly.
Right, the butterfly metaphor.
Yeah, but Dee pushed back on that. He said MarTech isn't a butterfly. It's a sci-fi xenomorph. The new AI-driven architecture is literally just bursting violently out of the chest of these old legacy systems.
That is a perfectly terrifying and accurate way to describe what it feels like to manage a marketing stack right now. It is not a graceful evolution.
No, it's messy. Which brings up a glaring contradiction. If the market is churning this violently, why are companies still buying software the old way? Nick Friedman Tabakhorst had this brutally honest post about companies routinely wasting $100,000 on tools they already own.
Oh, the attribution platform story.
Yes. He shared this example of an enterprise client about to sign a 6-figure contract for a new attribution tool. Nick's team comes in, maps the architecture, and finds the company already owned 3 different tools that could do the exact same thing. They just weren't wired together correctly.
And that is the norm. It's not an outlier at all. Premadam actually highlighted this stat showing that 50% of enterprise SaaS licenses are totally unused. Half of the multi-million-dollar stack is basically doing nothing.
That is insane.
It is. So when we talk about stack consolidation in 2026, we're not talking about a retreat. It is a sign of operational maturity. Sergey Skripnik actually has this amazing test for what he calls new RevOps.
Oh, I saw this, the consultant test, right?
Yeah. He asks, if your external consultant or systems integrator disappeared tomorrow, would your system still produce revenue? If the answer is no, you don't have a revenue engine, you have a dependency.
You built something so fragile your own team can't even drive it. But okay, let me play devil's advocate for a second. How does an enterprise accidentally buy 3 of the same tool? Like, finance approves budgets, IT runs security checks. Where is the disconnect happening?
It's siloed procurement. Different regional teams buy things in isolation, or a new VP comes in and just buys whatever tool they used at their last job.
Right. And then the CMO gets blamed when things don't work. Anna Moran brought up a brilliant point about delegated authority here. CMOs are held accountable for tech choices made by IT or finance. It's like being a Michelin star chef. But the finance department buys all your ingredients from a discount bin and designs your menu.
That's a great way to put it.
How can marketing be held accountable when they don't even hold the keys?
They can't. And that's why marketing leaders have to take back architectural control. Because once the foundation is clean, the next step isn't buying more software, it's adding a digital workforce.
Yes, let's get into Agentic AI because this is moving so fast. Mohammed Binish pointed out that AI is no longer just a tool for writing blogs. It is a full marketing workforce.
Absolutely. Martin Keane argues that the future stack needs a distinct third layer. You have data ops, you have your MarTech software, and now you have the agentic layer sitting on top.
I want to make sure we explain this mechanically for the listener, because traditional MarTech is like a power tool. It makes the carpenter faster, but you still have to hold it and pull the trigger. Agentic AI is like hiring an independent contractor who brings their own tools and just builds the house while you sleep.
Exactly. Agents are goal-oriented, you give them an objective, and they dynamically navigate your systems, overcome errors, and just execute. Look at what Katie Ewan shared about Databricks. They deployed 3 AI agents in production for their marketers.
They even named them, right? Marge, Tagatha, and Atlas.
Right. Marge helps marketers query complex data sets instantly. Tagatha structures and tags years of historical content. Atlas handles dynamic audience segmentation. They serve 300 marketers with trusted data access.
Aquabur Raman at Mailmoto shared another one that blew my mind. They built an agent combining Screaming Frog, Google Sheets, and Slack to just fully automate on-page SEO across hundreds of pages. The agent reviews the crawl data, finds broken links, proposes fixes in a sheet, and slacks the web team with the exact actions.
And when you look at the ROI math on this, it's staggering. Hendry soon proved that you can take a traditional content marketing function, which costs about $366,000 a year, to run and replace it with one hybrid human operator equipped with about $12,000 of AI tools.
Wait, $366K down to what?
Down to $162,000. It drastically cuts the cost.
Okay, but if we are turning marketing into this automated assembly line run by agents like Marge and Atlas, where does human strategy fit in? Like, are we just automating ourselves out of a job?
That's the fear, but actually human creativity becomes way more valuable. The bottleneck isn't content creation anymore. We solved that. The bottleneck is orchestration and context.
Meaning the agents can build the house in the dark, but they still need us to tell them where the property lines are. They need context.
Exactly. And to get that context, they have to connect directly to our internal data.
Which brings us to the most alarming part of this deep dive. Jana Mistry has been talking about MCP Model Context Protocol. It's the new standard for how AI connects to marketing data.
Yeah, MCP completely changes the game. It closes the gap between insight and action. Instead of rigid APIs, MCP acts like a universal skeleton key so the AI can just read your files and pull what it needs.
But the adoption speed is wild. Dee Acosta noted that it took commercial MarTech 15 years to hit 15,000 products. MCP hit 29,000 servers in just 18 months.
And that is exactly why we have a massive security risk right now. Clark Barron ran an independent security audit on these servers, and the warning he dropped is heavy. There are 29,000 MCP servers out there with practically zero verification.
Zero verification. What did he actually find in the audit?
He found HubSpot MCP servers secretly collecting IP addresses, silently migrating access tokens, and caching live CRM data as plaintext JSON on local file system.
Wait, plaintext JSON, so zero encryption, just sitting there on a local drive.
Sitting there, unencrypted.
So if our internal data is a polluted river, MCP is essentially a high-speed pipe pumping that toxic water straight into the AI agent's brain.
Yep. And this leads to my favorite quote of the year from Kamal Z. She said, "Oops, your stack is showing."
Huh. I love that.
Because AI agents don't have human intuition to smooth over your bad data. If your internal architecture is broken, the AI exposes that directly to the customer. The inner game is now the outer game.
So as a marketer, do I need to freeze everything? Do we need to spend 18 months building the perfect customer 360 dashboard before we let AI touch our data?
No, definitely not. Yogito Wadhwa advises strongly against that. Skip the multi-million-dollar customer 360 obsession.
Okay, so what do we do instead?
You start with the next decision. Let's say you want to re-engage a 30-day non-purchaser. Figure out the absolute minimum data needed for that specific action, clean just that tiny slice of data, and build from there. Incremental execution.
Start small. I love that. Well, we've covered a ton of ground today. If you enjoyed this episode, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also, check out our other editions on account-based marketing, field marketing, channel marketing, AI and B2B marketing, go-to-market, and social selling.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Make sure to subscribe.
And we want to leave you with one final provocative thought. Rupert Steffner and Stephanie Jainin both pointed out that as search evolves into answer engine optimization, AI agents are going to start making buying recommendations in the background.
Right, before a human ever even sees your site.
Exactly. So your website's primary audience is no longer human. It's an AI crawler. So ask yourself, how are you designing your digital presence to convince a machine?